motion on encampments will be going before City Council today. City Councillor Brad Bradford says any encampment within 200 meters of a school, daycare or playground should be cleared within 48 hours of being reported. Councillor Bradford joins us now to talk more about this. Good morning, sir. Nice to see you.
Great to see you, Courtney.
So you've been talking about this motion for about a week now. There's been this opportunity for other councillors to hear your details. At this point, do you think you're going to get some support for this motion?
There's been a lot of interest in this motion because there's nothing more important than keeping our kids safe. And I think everybody can appreciate that our parks have to be open and accessible for our families, for seniors, and for everybody here in the city. And right now, Mayor Chow's approach to encampment clearing has been the go slow approach. They've been allowed to proliferate for months on end, and they're not safe. They're not safe for the people who are living in the encampments, and they're not safe for the families and the folks in the neighborhood that want to use the park. So my motion is a practical response to this challenge. It's saying that we can't have any encampments within 200 meters of a playground, a daycare, or a school, and that when they show up, they have to be removed within 48 hours. And with respect to my colleagues, I've heard from a lot of people that they agree with this because it's a problem in their neighborhoods, it's a problem for their constituents, and it's gotten way out of hand here in Toronto.
If you have enough support and this is going to pass, when it comes to the enforcement, 48 hours is a short period of time, and we already know a lot of outreach workers and other resources that we need for a clear out. They're pretty stressed out. What do you do? How do you ensure that there's enough money there to see something like this happen?
Well, look, there's a couple of things. My proposal would still include working with the Streets to Homes team. It's just we're putting some parameters around the time period in which we're going to do this on. So the Streets to Home team is out in the parks and working with folks in the encampments every single day. It's just going to change the policy. When Mayor Chow came into office and she changed it to a go slow approach where, there really isn't much of a push to clear the encampments, they proliferate. People double down. They tend to attract more residents that will be moving into the parks. The tents proliferate across the city. We're going to put a time frame around that. So it's the folks are still going out to the encampments every day. We're going to connect them with shelter or housing, but we're going to put a time frame around that, and it's 48 hours when it's within 200 meters of a school, a daycare, or a playground.
On the shelters, though, we know the shelters are so full. Recent data suggesting as many as 10,000 people relying on the shelter system. If someone goes out and says you're not allowed to stay here, you have to go to a shelter, and there's no room, where do they go?
We still have to offer shelter space. So that's a caveat on this, and that's an important approach for us to take. But in front of council today, we are beefing up shelter capacity. We are adding more beds. It's never enough. We have to work with the federal and provincial governments to have more long-term shelter capacity. And the other thing we have to do is build supportive housing. I've done that in my community in East York. That has to be the priority, making sure that folks have the wraparound supports, whether that is mental health or addiction supports in their housing. But unfortunately, we've spent the past 2 years at council trying to stand up a public builder model. And there's an opportunity cost when we take our eye off the prize, when we lose our focus on building that supportive housing. Not enough of that has been done over the past 2 years under this administration. So it presents a challenge. But what I'm saying today is we must prioritize keeping our parks open, safe, and accessible for everybody, for families, for seniors, for all Torontonians. And we can't allow encampments to proliferate around playgrounds, daycares, and schools.
Are you confident it's going to pass today?
I'm hopeful. And again, that's because, a lot of my colleagues would be dealing with these sorts of issues. And it's not just a downtown issue. It's across all 630 square kilometers of this city. Since Mayor Chow came into office, we have seen encampments proliferate from Etobicoke to North York to Scarborough and everywhere in between. So we're all dealing with this. And I think we have to be clear-eyed and sober with Torontonians about what the expectations are and the steps that we're going to do to keep our kids and our families safe.
Okay, Councillor Bradford, thank you. We'll be at council later today, so we'll certainly see what happens here and follow the next steps. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Courtney.